Hello students and welcome to Science Math Hub. In today's video, we're going to do some practice questions for the second chapter of the A-Level Pure Maths 3 syllabus, Logarithmic and Exponential Functions. Starting off with the most common question seen on past papers, solve the equation ln bracket x plus 5 equals to 5 plus ln x. Give your answer correct to 3 decimal places. Okay, so I'm just going to write down and copy the equation first. Next, we'll move the ln x from the right-hand side to the left-hand side because we want to separate the variables that has ln in front of them and the variables that does not. So here you'll have ln bracket x plus 5 minus ln x equals to 5. And using the division rule of logarithms, we can therefore combine the ln variables from the left-hand side and make it into ln bracket x plus 5 over x. Next, with this general rule, we can remove ln by equating what's in the bracket, which is x plus 5 over x, to e power 5. Here I moved the denominator to the other side so that I can gather all the variables with x and factor the x out. The last step is just some basic algebra and a calculator work, which leaves us to x being 0.034. Showing all necessary working, solve the equation and give your answer correct to 3 decimal places. As always, we copy the question first. Then first step would be moving the denominator to the other side because we do not want to work with fractions. Now this equation would look a little bit too complicated to solve, so we'll let 3 to the power of x equal to any variable. In this case, I'm using a. This leads us to a squared plus 3 power of negative 1 equals to 4 open bracket a squared minus a to the power of negative 1 close bracket. For the left-hand side, we can write 3 power of negative 1 as 1/3, and for the right-hand side, we can just expand the 4. Next up, we arrange and equate the equation to 0, and you can also write your 4a power of negative 1 as 4 over a. Then to remove that fraction of a that we do not want to work with, multiply the whole thing by a. This leaves us with a cubic equation that you can solve using your calculator. In this case, a is 1.134. But we want the x value, so we convert it back. 3 to the power of x equals to 1.134. Then using the general logarithm formula, you can solve x and get 0.114 as your final answer. Show that the equation can be written as a quadratic equation in x. First, we gotta simplify the right-hand side using the power rule. Then the rest of the steps would actually be pretty similar to the first question that we did before. So we separate the variables with log and the ones without. Then we use the division rule, then the general rule, leading us to 2x plus 1 divided by bracket x minus 1 close bracket power of 2 equals to 3 to the power of 1. As always, we try to avoid working with fractions as much as possible, so we move the denominator to the other side, and then using the skills you've picked up in IGCSE, expand the power of x minus 1. Then to remove the brackets, you expand the 3, and if you rearrange the whole thing, you'll be left with a quadratic equation in x, which is 0 equals to 3x squared minus 8x plus 2.